Welcome to Once Upon a Line, a showcase for short stories.
The New Girls by Maggie Pierce. She awoke with a start and groped for her book. Her glasses had slipped to the ground. She couldn't reach them. Now she would have to wait for someone to come by to pick them up for her. No matter, it was a lovely day. She would curb her impatience and look at the trees. Judith raised her head to the sun and felt the unaccustomed heat on her face. At least she needn't worry about getting wrinkles any more. Her face was etched deeply with what Alicia called lines of life and experience, Grandma. Judith snorted quietly, but could not deny it. But, oh, wouldn't she just love to still have that young, smooth skin that was so admired as just peachy? She had cared for it, lavished it with that heavenly moisturiser, on which she spent far more money than on perfume. Let the sun do its worst now, she thought. Age has won. Funny how we all think old age is for others and will never happen to us. Old age was another country, with residents far removed from our eager youth or the overwhelming busyness of family life and work. What did old people know, after all? Youth thought they were just ancient beings nodding in chairs, muscling in rudely in queues, or running one over with their superior mobility scooters. The irony is, of course, when age and loneliness increase, the accumulated wisdom is no longer required. Enough, Judith thought, no more self-pity. The trees now, look at that beech. Always her favourite, its magnificence caught her breath, the acutely green spring leaves almost painful in their clarity against the new blue sky. She was fortunate, wasn't she? She could see, hear tolerably well, so books and the radio could still offer comfort and companionship. Her legs had almost gone, but as Alicia had said, "That's why you're here, Grandma, so you can have help. I know you hated leaving your home, but really, you couldn't manage." She trailed off, knowing that leaving home had ripped away part of her grandmother's soul. "Hello. I do hope we're not disturbing you." Judith turned from her tree-gazing to see a young man gently holding the arm of a tall, frail-looking lady in a dress of an exquisite green. "No, oh no," said Judith politely. "Oh my, your dress is the same green as the beech leaves. How glorious!" she cried. Then, "Oh, I'm so sorry to be personal. We haven't even been introduced." "Not at all. I'm delighted you like it," said the tall lady. Let's introduce ourselves. Will, you do the honours, dear. I must sit down." And she sat carefully on one of the wooden garden chairs next to Judith, arranging her silky dress to avoid creasing. "Well, yes, sorry again for barging in on you, but this is such a peaceful spot. I hadn't realised the garden was so big and quite beautiful." The young man put his hands in his pockets and walked towards a flower bed which was aflame with tulips. "Oh, sorry," he coughed and turned back to the expectant ladies. "I'm Will Peterson, and this is my gorgeous great-aunt, Caroline. Sorry, Miss Caroline Wilson. We've just arrived and have been settling Aunt Caroline into her room. What a place! Do you like it here? Have you lived here long? Oh, sorry, talking too much. What's your name?" Judith smiled at the enthusiastic young man. "My name's Judith James, Mrs. James, I suppose, though I prefer Judith. I've been living here for over 6 months now. My husband died 2 years ago, and I thought I could manage on my own. But, well, yes, it is a lovely place, I know, but but perhaps you could pick up my glasses just there, look, before you tread on them. Thank you." Judith turned to Miss Wilson. "I'm sorry, I mustn't pass my doubts on to you. I've been very fortunate, and my granddaughter does visit when she can. There's so many worse places to be. Which room will you be living in?" I think it's called Snowdrop Room, which I must admit Sounds rather fey to me. I do have a wonderful bay window, overlooking the drive, rather, but there. I suppose I can keep an eye on the comings and goings. I always was nosy. Judith looked round. Young man, sorry, Will, was it? I wonder if you'd be so kind as to fetch us some tea. It's so warm, I'm loath to go inside just yet. I'm sure, if you ask nicely, they'll give you a tray. The two ladies smiled cautiously at each other as Will ambled back over the lawn. A good-looking young man, isn't he? Well, I think we may be neighbours, said Judith. I'm actually next door to you, in Lilac Room. Aren't they ghastly? I'd have been quite happy with a number instead. Might I call you Caroline, if you call me Judith? Indeed, yes, said Caroline. I'm so glad to meet you, tell the truth. I've been so apprehensive about coming here. It's almost like a first day at school. Did you feel like that? I certainly did. If I could have kicked and screamed when I was brought here, I would. I can't kick any more, and my granddaughter would have been mortified if I'd screamed. Poor Alicia. She didn't know what to do with me when I could no longer manage at home. I always swore I'd never go into care. Is she your only family, then? Alicia, did you say? I actually feel rather relieved to be here, thinking about it. I'd become very isolated and lonely. Mostly my fault, I have to say. Not just Alicia, replied Judith. I have a brother, but he's older than I and doesn't know which way is up and is in a home in Norfolk. My daughter died 10 years ago, Alicia's mother, my only child. Alicia has a brother, but he's somewhere in Australia, backpacking or whatever they call an excuse not to work. So, here I am. I know it could be worse, but I do get lonely despite the other people here. I haven't made a proper friend. I do hope we may get along, do you think? Perhaps. Very forward of me, I'm sure. Oh, no, I think we very well might. I cut myself off when I could no longer walk properly or safely. I always felt such a fool, stumbling all over the place. I did fall at home more than once and had to call an ambulance. They were so sweet, but my pride... Oh, I think my pride always comes before and after a fall. Will was delegated by his mother, my niece, to bring me today. She's always so busy working, and I still enjoy being squired by a young man. Judith smiled conspiratorially at her new friend as they watched Will walking across the lawn towards them with a tray of tea. Well, he certainly knows how to treat a lady. You're very lucky. I should make the most of him if I were you. Now tell me, before you hid yourself away, what did you enjoy doing? I think you may be artistic. They have all sorts of classes here, you know. We could go to French conversation, perhaps, or drawing, though I do draw the line at bingo. Caroline looked towards Will as he placed the tray on the garden table and smiled, her glance telling him, yes, she would be all right here. And there's music too sometimes. They do have trips out. We could put our names down. What do you think, Caroline? Chattered on Judith. I think that beech tree is just awesome, as Will says. Tomorrow I will draw it. And the two old ladies touched hands as Will handed them their tea.
Thank you for listening. To submit a story, either send us an audio file, ensuring you include your name and your story's title at the beginning of your recording, or send us a written version and we'll record it on your behalf. All submissions should be sent to press, that's PRESS, at shaftesburyartscentre.org.uk. This has been a Shaftesbury Arts Centre audio production.